The voyage of the Minamor, Mordaeth the Minamor. The starting point for the intrepid voyage of the Minamor takes place in our very own town here, in Aberaeron. The Minamor is a brigantine sailing ship built in Aberaeron and capable of long voyages across the oceans. In the past, the crew have been to many harbours and locations across the world delivering their cargo. This particular voyage has been charted by a lady botanist, Georgie, who is on a mission to take special seeds to the island of Svalbard in the north. The journey would be a cold and treacherous one, but amongst our crew we have many skilled sailors. Our captain, John Simon Evans, and his wise owl, Sagittarius, Miles, the engineer, Elizabeth, the deckhand, Catherine, the cook, and here Georgie, our lady botanist. There are other characters who we will meet as we continue our journey. And so it is on a fine day in spring, the Minamor sets off from Aberaeron harbour on its important voyage north. The captain and his crew are in fine spirits, and Georgie was excited to be set off finally on the journey to Svalbard after much planning. Here we have Svalbard and the location of the seed bank. Initially, the weather is fair and the ship makes good progress along its route. But after several days at sea, the sky suddenly turns black and the wind picks up with a wild storm battering the ship. "All hands on deck," shouts the captain. The waves are as big as the sky, and the rain batters the poor Minamor as she struggles to stay afloat. The sea is more powerful than we can imagine as every sailor forgets at their peril. Captain Evans and his crew work hard to keep the Minamor from being battered and from breaking up. Elizabeth risks her life by climbing the rigging and putting away the mainsail, which comes loose and risks pulling the ship over in the storm. Then Georgie discovers another terrible misfortune. Some of the seed stores have got wet and some of the seeds have started to grow. Georgie had not been completely honest with the captain, as one of the reasons she was so anxious to deposit her seeds in the seed bank was that she had discovered an entirely new species of plant. In appearance, seeds that weren't like any ordinary plant. When watered, they grew, and grew so fast that the place where they grew would be covered in plants in hours rather than weeks or months. "Avast, desist," she cried to her plants, who did not listen and continued to grow, and so it was that the crew found themselves to be surrounded aboard by these creeping, climbing plants that wound themselves up and around the masts and sails and over the sides of the ship and into the sea below them. What a strange sight they must have made, already battered by the storm with masts in need of repair and stores low, to find plants growing through the sails and up the rigging and over the gaff. The crew find themselves trapped and tripping over trailing plants and flowers. Just in time, Georgie manages to stop the plants from pulling down the mast by pouring salt water over the roots in the bottom of the boat, immediately killing all the creeping plants. After they have cleared the boat of all the dead plants, the unfortunate crew find themselves wildly off course. "Land ahoy! Tir ar gorwel!" They are saved, but have ended up on the Caribbean island of Tortello, where they are helped by the indigenous people to recover. Miles, the engineer, begins his work on repairing the ship, and Catherine, the cook, orders the crew to go and find food. They find fish, and she makes a fish supper, which all of the sailors think is wonderful. But Catherine is not satisfied and goes around the island looking for fruit, mangoes and bananas, in order to stock up on their journey. Once the repairs are finished, it isn't long before they start back off on their journey again. But they come across a pirate ship who is intent on seizing them in a moor. This is the Spanish pirate Capitan Huefe Jurada and his infamous Pus de Pwllheli on their ship a Barty Ddu. Sagittarius the Owl comes up with a plan to foil the Barty Ddu in its attempts to capture the Minamore. All hands are on deck to save the ship from being seized, and after a ferocious battle, Captain Evans is in fact able to seize the Barty Ddu. On boarding the ship, the crew of the Minamore find treasure beyond their wildest imaginations and some very fine cases of Spanish wine. The crew promised to share the treasure after delivery of Georgie's seed to Svalbard. "Abandon ship," shouts Huefe Jurada as his ship sinks into the ocean. They leave behind the Barty Ddu as it sinks into the sea. The ongoing journey north is long and arduous. The ship sails onwards through difficult weather, and when they are nearly at their destination, they are drawn in by the sound of singing. It's a siren mermaid, but they realize what is happening, and just in time, the ship manages to avoid crashing into an iceberg. "Tir ar y gorwel, land ahoy!" spots Elizabeth, the deckhand, from her spot high in the crow's nest, and shortly after that they arrive at their final destination, where Georgie is able to deposit the remaining seeds safely in the seed bank. At this point in the story, we normally say, "and they all lived happily ever after," but this was not going to happen. A flying saucer of 6-headed alien cats came down and kidnapped the crew, abducting them and taking them to their planet. But how they managed to escape is a story for another day.